Nation's #1 DJ, DJ Rockwell.
Yo, this is Apocalypse, the lyrical warner, hip-hop revelator. And you rockin' with the nation's #1 DJ, DJ Rockwell, you understand me?
We're back once again, ladies and gentlemen. Peace, peace, peace. This is your brother DJ Rockwell, the nation's #1 DJ. Welcome back to the Rockwell Radio Show. Man, I'm excited, Chief. I'm excited. I'm moved. I am interested. I am curious. Because tonight's guest is from a field that I'm not entirely familiar with. Well, what do I mean by that? Tonight's guest is from the world of acting. Tonight's guest is from the world of theater. Well, somebody be saying, well, dang, Vaughn, ain't you a hip-hop show, bro? Yeah, we're that. I got rappers sitting around watching the show like, where the hip-hop at? The hip-hop is right here. But I'm so enthralled because of the fact that I get to be a member of the Nation of Islam and still present this wide array of performing arts, of hip hop, of dance, of music, of people who play instruments, musicians. We still get to be all of that in this wide array of a ministry that we call the Ministry of Arts and Culture. We represent all that here at the Rockwell Radio Show. In fact, the show exists primarily to give that the stage it deserves. And tonight's guest is a great representation of that. We've been on the air a little over 4 years now. We came on in 2020, Big Dave and I. And the reason that we began the Rockwell Radio Show was to give a platform to those who have something of positivity to say. To give a platform to those who have something to offer in the way of righteousness, in the way of, we rising above the minuscule stuff you hear on the radio that you see on the TV. We're rising high above that. We just need a place to do it. So the Rockwell Radio Show was born. And so far, you all been watching and you've been continuing to watch. Speaking of which, we need everybody to go ahead and obey the 3 rules of the Rockwell Radio Show. Dave, show them what the rules are, Chief. We need everybody to hit that like and share button. Tag somebody, and above all, if you're watching us via YouTube, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications. The notifications are what let you know that we're live and you can join us and be live with us. Dave, I want to start getting prepared for what we're going to talk about tonight. And y'all bear with me. I always battle the sinus issue this time of year, but I try to fight and get through it every time I'm on the air. So if I sound a little clubby, that's why. I don't have, again, I want to be clear and very transparent about this. My background is hip hop. My background is DJing. My background is B-boys, that stuff. What could we possibly have in common with this subject? The answer is any tool that we can use to fight for freedom, justice, and equality, like the arts, should be in our arsenal, and we should be employing it at will. And Dave, I want to start giving a bit of background. Since we're talking about this art, is going to be the art of theater tonight. We're going to be talking about how powerful it is. How do we get our young people involved in theater? And our guest tonight, how she's using it as a weapon to absolutely enliven, uplift, and inform our people about history. And speaking of history, Big Dave, let's go ahead and go to the setup real quick. Let's go to movie mode, news mode. As I began digging about the history of so-called Black theater, it started in a way that wasn't so pleasing. We started finding Black theater was perpetrated by the other man dressing up as us in blackface. And we started seeing shows like this, what they called coon songs. Matter of fact, our great brother, Dr. Wesley, was on this show not very long ago and introduced us to what is known as coon songs. And they looked like this, what you see on your screen right now. People dressed up, misfigured, disfigured, representing us, you and I, like this. And they had plays and songs called The Chicken Brigade, called A Big Coon Hit. This was the origin of so-called the Black theater experience, was mockery to you and I. They had things like this. This was the most successful song in the early 1900s. Coon, coon, coon. That's right. Look at this. But it wasn't until, to get this actual fact right, it wasn't until 1898 that the two men you see on your screen, those brothers were the first ones, Bob Cole and Billy Johnson to be exact, in 1898 to be the first all-Black, written, produced, acted, and directed and owned in 1898. And their production at that time was called A Trip to Coonville. They said, if you're going to call us Coonville, let's make money on our own image and face. Why not? Those brothers were the first ones in 1898. And again, this is not intended to be a full story. This is intended just to give you a quick snapshot of Black theater. Jump all the way forward to 1978, when most of us began to pay attention. It's when I began to pay attention to what they call musicals. We saw Michael Jackson, Diana Ross, Nipsey Russell. We saw Richard Pryor. We saw Mabel King. Easing on down the road. Yep, that's what we saw. At 1978, we were glued to our TVs at their adaptation of The Wonderful Wizard of Oz with people that looked like you and I. Let's bring it all the way up to the modern time with why we're here today. With our sister, the producer of Bronzeville, continuing to tell our stories. Our sister is here with us, and we cannot wait to meet her and introduce her, our sister Margaret Mahdi. But I tell you what, Big Dave, there's nobody that can introduce her better than herself. Watch this.
My name is Margaret Mahdi, and I am the playwright and director for Bronzeville the Musical. Its world premiere. The production opens October 2020. Bronzeville was known as the Black Metropolis or Black Belt. This musical story is a story of inspiration and hope. We're telling the story of the great migrants. We're telling the story of their sacrifices, their pain, and their fight to come to a city that also rejected them. But we are still here today because of their journey. Simply, it is the migration story.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am so excited to welcome this sister for the first time to the Rockwell radio show. She is the founder of the Mahdi Theatre Company. She is the artistic director, playwright, producer. She is the visionary behind the experience that we're talking about tonight called Bronzeville. Please welcome for the first time to the Rockwell radio show, my sister and yours, Sister Margaret Mahdi. Welcome, sister. We are so honored to have you.
All praise is due to Allah. Thank you, Brother Vaughn and family. And it is a blessing to be on this noble radio show.
Let me first give a shout out to my brother Apocalypse, aka Michael A. Muhammad. He was the conduit who made this happen. So, brother, this show is dedicated to you, my brother. Now, sister, as you watched from backstage this introduction, I think there's none better that can continue this introduction but you. Please tell my listeners, my watchers, who is Margaret Mahdi?
All praise is due to Allah. Well, I am honored to be here. It is a blessing to be able to share your narrative with the world and to strive to represent our wonderful, noble, special leader, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I am now able to say that we are living our purpose.
Come on.
Being obedient to Allah's calling over our lives. So Sister Margaret is a student of Islam. I am a student of the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And in God's special way, he gifted me through my mother's womb with art, creativity, and how to put it all together to help resurrect his people. And it certainly has been a journey, but I'm a student of this great stage, as we call life, and just striving to be a servant to the cause and the call of Islam.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is Sister Margaret Mahdi with us today. We need everybody to go ahead and do the favor for us and hit that like and share button. Hit that like and share button. Tag someone who you think would be interested in tonight's subject. And again, above all, we're asking everyone to go ahead and subscribe to the Rockwell Radio Show. Hit that button and turn on the notifications because we are live on your radio. Dear sister, I want to start here. You named your company the Mahdi Theater. To me, the power in that is limitless.
Yes.
Please give us the idea. I mean, I can kind of understand, but explain to my listeners, my watchers, why that name of your theater.
Well, we are God's people and we are his chosen ones. The great Mahdi came to save us 9,000 miles from the holy city Mecca. We are his people. So if we're going to work in his energy, his aim, and his purpose, what better name to call an effort but Mahdi? We are all Mahdis.
Right.
We are all Muhammads. We are Farrakhan. And if you're going to, or if I'm going to work in a noble mission, we want to stamp our name with God's name and
Beautiful.
strive to uphold that standard of Mahdi, which means the self-guided one.
Come on.
Is independent, and we are his people and we belong to him. And in that, we have been blessed to elevate others to represent Mahdi. So in the Mahdi Theatre Company, we strive for excellence, nobility, morality, righteousness, integrity, and character. And this is what makes a theater company or any art form successful. So with that name, we have a lot to uphold, but each day we're striving to be a better people of our art, and a better people of our stories, because it's an assignment.
Yes,
so that is one of the reasons why we coined the theater company after God's name, so that we as a people in our art can live up to a standard, the standard.
Come on, ladies and gentlemen. I had to lick shots for that one. Now, having said that, I want to get into some of the DNA of where you come from creatively.
Yes, sir.
In my research, I learned a bit about your why story. And we came across the fact that you were just as moved as the rest of the world was by The Wiz in 1978. What is it about The Wiz as a musical that you identified with the most? And why did that trigger you down the road that you took?
Yes, sir. As you said earlier, as you also was captivated by the musical, The Wiz is a spiritual story. It's a spiritual message. And this is why it is known as a classic in the Black culture, the Black community, and Black lives. It is our musical. In that musical, you have a goal. In that musical, you have faith. In that musical, you have vision and dream, and you have a collective of a group of people taking a risk and taking a leap of faith to get to a goal. Absolutely. So there's so many spiritual, symbolic messaging or messages in that musical that touch the heart and mind of all of us. And even from the 1970s up until now, it is still a classic amongst us as a people. But again, I think it serves as a spiritual message. And that is why it still rings as our musical. And we have been blessed to do several renditions of The Wiz. In fact, we in the Mahdi Theatre Company produced and did an adaptation called The Wiz Chicago Style. And in one of the runs, our gracious Messiah, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, graced us, and his family and Mother Khadijah graced us with their presence. And it was that was one of the shows, this was back in 2010, that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan spoke at the end of the production. And in his words, he gave us the permission to be free. That in Islam, we can create, we can write, we can sing, we can dance. He gave us the permission to be who we were meant to be. But he also gave us the orders to spark a cultural revolution in the arts. So
absolutely wonderful. It doesn't get more inspiring than that when you hear directly from the man of God.
Yeah, that's right.
I'd like to stick with The Wiz for a moment and add this twist to the conversation. Because as you may know, and maybe some of the viewers don't know, upon its initial release, The Wiz is what some might call a commercial failure, or the word they use is a flop. But what is it that differentiates art that is not commercially successful, yet still culturally relevant? How is it that we're still talking about The Wiz 40 plus years later?
That's right, because of its impact. It's because of the spiritual messaging in the story. It was an all-black cast, number one. It was Diana Ross with her afro. It was a soulful musical. It was about us. It was for us. And we were given the permission by Quincy Jones or Berry Gordy to be free. And in commercial theater and in their theater or in their musicals, we have to seek their approval. So in that rendition or that musical took a leap of faith to be natural. Michael Jackson, it was from that musical that he took off as legendary. So when it's about us and we add our soul to it and our heart to it, of course, commercial theater is not going to give us the approval. And as we're talking about that, this is one of the reasons why we were so dedicated and determined to take a Black narrative about Bronzeville, our Black community, the journey of leaving the South to come to the North, and to create our own musical so that other young Black artists can audition and try out for something new and original, as opposed to the same old musicals. Because again, we are naming the same ones: The Wiz, Ain't Misbehaving, Dreamgirls. We don't have many of them. So it's our time to break that cycle, whether they accept us or not. We know that we're creating a cultural revolution because we have stories upon stories upon stories. And the minister told us, he said, take charge of your post and tell your story.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely wonderful. Let me ask this question. You just referenced, obviously, Bronzeville, which is why we're here, is to start peeling back the layers of Bronzeville. But before we get into the making of Bronzeville, tell us about your work that preceded it.
Yes, sir. Well, we have been very blessed in Mahdi Theatre Company to produce nearly dozens of productions. Wow. Many of them are dramas. One of the shows that I've been blessed along with the Mahdi Theatre Company team to produce was a drama. It was entitled A Soldier's Daughter, and it was a play about Black family and a play about strength and courage. And right after we finished that play, we went into Bronzeville, but Bronzeville has been in the making since 2004.
Wow. Yes, ma'am.
And our goal was to revamp it, revitalize it. And we were fortunate to go see Hamilton. And Hamilton was written by, a Puerto Rican brother by the name of Brother Miranda. He's a Puerto Rican brother. And the score in Hamilton is hip hop, is poetry, and it's about the American Revolution. So in the theme of that musical, it repeats, America has a revolution and the revolution has to be told. And we as a Black people, it's our time to tell our story and present a revolution. So before Bronzeville, we've done a number of plays, of dramas, but this story touches home because it's original. This is a musical that has a score that has 24 songs, an original score, original choreography, an original storyline, and it has yet to be told. You can read about Bronzeville, about the Great Migration in storybooks, online, but by the grace of Allah, He has commissioned us with the assignment to tell the story through a musical. So this is why we are so inspired to take this leap to do as the other great musicals have done. But it's Black cast, Black operated, written by Black, for Blacks. And I will share this with you, Brother Vaughn. When we produce this play, a number of white people come out to it and they stand on their feet.
Come on.
Saluting and acknowledging the story of our people.
I love it. I love it. Absolutely incredible. Incredible. It is so interesting that you bring up Hamilton. Because as I was saying and doing my research in preparation for tonight's conversation, I wanted to find the common thread of the stage world and the hip hop world, and the answer is Hamilton. And you mentioned of the many musical pieces that you use for Bronzeville. Tell me about why the importance of having the right soundtrack for stage play.
Well, just like The Wiz, when you study classic musicals, be it The Wiz or even the original Wiz, the Caucasian version, which was also captivating, music moves the soul. And it's very important to create a score that reflects and represent also the time.
Yes, ma'am.
And it also you want to also keep in mind, how will it impact generations to come? So when you're creating a musical, you're not just thinking of the now, you're thinking of future generations. This is why The Wiz is so successful. This is why now Hamilton is scored as the #1 musical in the world. So our children and grandchildren will be captivated by the sound of its hip hop score. And as we know, hip hop, R&B, soul music, gospel music, that's in our DNA, and it's in the DNA written in society. So when we created Bronzeville, we tapped into the spirit of our ancestors. And we know that this sound of this score, the Black sound, the soulful sound, is going to carry on for generations to come. So this is a blessing why the Black art and Black music is so significant, because it never dies. And it's a blessing to be able to capture the essence of that sound and write it in a score. So again, we're very proud to say that Bronzeville, the musical score, is original. We are, and what I mean by original, meaning that we didn't use somebody else's lyrics from their play. We scored it based upon the spirit of our ancestors. And I would like to also add, brother, when you're in this type of work, in theater work, it's a spiritual work. It is not a work of vanity. It's not a work of self-aggrandizement. It's not a work of, I scored another show and sold it out. As I am evolving in my craft, I am discovering that it is a God-centered work. And it being God-centered is why the outcome would be successful, because now you're taking on the responsibility of being obedient to what he gave you to write. So there are times in our history where God may say it is time to write the story of this person or that person. This is why a cultural revolution is so important, because our children don't know the stories. You can easily hear your story through a hip hop song, and it's captivating. It's life-changing. You can hear the story of your people through a television show or through a movie, and it's equally captivating and moving when you can go and see it in a play. So our job is to expose it. There is so much out there. Your story, your family story, all it takes is someone to sit down with a pen and a paper and to write it and to expose it. And it's life-changing. So I'm sorry if I'm all over the place, but I'm just moved by, as I'm thinking about scoring, all of it from the musical score to the scripting and thinking about the concept, it is really a spiritual movement. And getting into the spiritual component of the art is where you're answering your calling and your purpose.
That is actually a great segue to the last question I'll ask on this side of the break, Sister Margaret. Again, as I researched you and did my preparation for tonight's conversation, I wondered what other ties I would find between my world and yours. And I found one that stood out, and you just touched on it just now, is the passion, the drive. Talk about the drive for excellence that is required for what you do?
All praises due to Allah. That's an excellent question. Well, that's Mahdi. That's God.
Each.
When God selected his people, he has written over us his signature of excellence. And in order for us to reach excellence, we have to be disciplined, and we have to be focused, and we have to stay in prayer, and we have to fast our way through it. So in order for us to take charge as the people of God and be in the forefront and to represent him, we have to be disciplined. And that is where the drive comes from. And it also goes back to answering your calling over your life. When we are able to tap into our purpose, Allah placed in us an authentic and an organic drive where you just can't stop, because it's not about you. It's about taking obedience and listening to what he told you to do. Sometimes in show business, brother, I can get so overwhelmed because of the pressure and what it presents, but Allah won't have me to stop, because it's not about me. It's not even about the people who are the facilitators. It's about giving God the praise and doing his work so that his message is made known through the art of theater or through the art of playwright. So the drive is consistent, and just making sure that the motive behind what we do is reflective of God, and that it's not about us. I'll just share this. On our way to New York, Apollo Theater, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan graced us with a call on November 11th. The production, Allahu Akbar, the production opened the 16th and the 17th. The minister called us on November 11th. And in the prayer he gave to us was, seek Allah, hold tightly to Allah's hand. And he said, this is not about vanity, and it's not seeking self-grandizement. Yes. He said, this is about Allah. So as an artist and as a student, we have to constantly nurse from God. And that is the drive.
Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if y'all are fired up like me, but oh my God, I am excited. I am beyond moved. This is exactly what I wanted to get into. We are up against the break. Don't go away. Sister Margaret Mahdi is my guest. We will be right back.
What up with it, man? You already know what time it is. It's me, Young Kinda Don. I'm up in this thing.
Peace. This is Aziz, the kid Kareem, the life-giving MC.
Peace, everyone. This is Brother Anthony K. Muhammad, also known as A-Tone, the hip-hop historian.
Peace, family. What's going on? It's Brother Jabril, Brother Mustafa, Lordship Productions in the building.
I am your sister, Arian Nicole. Peace, peace, peace. It's your sister, Sue Axel. You're watching the Rockwell Radio Show.
You are now tuned in live to the Rockwell Radio Show.
Right now, you're listening to Rockwell Radio Show.
Rockwell Radio. If you ain't listening, man, you wasting time. You on all these other stations, you need to tap in. Rockwell Radio.
You know what it is. Watch them, watch them, watch them.
I'm here with Brother Rockwell, the Rockwell Radio Show.
You ain't in the game, you in the stand. Stop playing, man. Let's go.
When last time you bought a final call?
Oh, yeah, true.
Yeah, man. You see what I'm saying? We always want to start. I mean, this is what I'm not doing. Yeah, everybody go buy a final call tomorrow. Everybody who watched it. The Muslims shouldn't have no papers in their hand tomorrow. Because you know what the Muslims going to do with the money?
True.
They're going to create other Muslims.
True.
You know what the Muslims going to do? They're going to keep your neighborhood safe. They're going to show your little girl ain't nothing wrong with wearing a long dress. They're going to teach your children they're the original people on earth. So you know what that little $2 going to do. So go and spend that little $2.
True. True.
That's it.
True.
That's it. That's it. That's it.
Assalamu alaikum. This is your brother, Nuri Muhammad. And whenever I'm searching for a source or a platform that I can get some news that I can use, I look forward to and look at, watch and listen to the Rockwell Radio Show. and I hope you would do the same.
Brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. This is DJ Rockwell, the nation's number one DJ, and my host tonight is the incredible, the incomparable, our dear sister, Margaret Mahdi. She is the founder and artistic director of the Mahdi Theatre Company, behind their wonderful play called Bronzeville. I'm excited. Sister, when you said yes, I was like, oh my goodness, this is going to be a great conversation.
Praise
A
be
great
to Allah.
conversation. So for those of you in Chicago and New York, if you're watching, matter of fact, Dave, let's tell them again. Go ahead and hit that like and share button. Tag somebody from Chicago. Tag somebody from New York. Maybe they went to the play, and we want you all to subscribe, because if time permits, we want to open up the phone lines and have those who saw it talk with our dear sister who's present tonight and give her your feedback directly. I'd love to hear what you all have to say, if time permits. But let's start here. I want to start peeling back the layers of Bronzeville.
Yes, sir.
Let me begin, because I think every, great production begins with the cast.
Yes.
Tell me, how involved are you with the casting, and what are some of your criteria to selecting your cast?
That is an excellent question. It's an excellent question because brother, where we are right now is interesting. We just had a post-production meeting Thursday night, and that was the conversation, how to strengthen our cast selection. And where I am, and as the theater company is growing and the team members are growing, we are discovering that beyond singing, beyond how great you look or how talented you may be, we have to screen the heart. So in casting, as I said prior, that all of this is a spiritual journey, we are praying that we are connected to God, stronger in our relationship with Allah, and to be able to have the foresight and discernment to select those who are also connected to God. Wow. It is a spiritual journey. And most people in the Mahdi Theatre Company are from community. Everyone is not a registered Nation of Islam member. But we have worked with beautiful Black people from the community with beautiful heart, who is connected to the mission of raising the consciousness of the people through their art, through acting. Beautiful. So we are now at a place that selecting raw talent off the street, or because a person has an impeccable resume and traveled the world, sometimes when you come into these spaces, if you're not connected to the spirit, it doesn't always pan out right. So in our selection process, it's best that we ask questions of what is your why, and why would you like to join a Mahdi Theatre Company? And why do you, or how do you plan to use your gifts and talents to help spread the message, to help elevate God's people? I'm not here to turn people away from their Christianity or anything like that, but we do want to make sure that it is a mission greater than ourselves, And it's not just about the lights and the big stage and how much money you're going to get at the end. Right. So what Allah has shown us in this process is a separation. And I think a lot of us are dealing with the separation of the time that we're in whatever business you're in. And you have to decide which fence you want to be on, or what side of the fence you want to stay on. And we want people who are in alignment. I remember at the meeting, someone mentioned, one of my team leads mentioned, well, you know, we don't have to ask questions about kumbaya and looking all deep inside a person's heart. It's a job, and they should be able to come in and sing and do their job. Not always, because sometimes character defects and the poison can ooze out in the process. So no one is perfect, even myself. I'm still learning and growing on my posts, but we do want people who are in alignment. So the selection process now is more intentional. What is your why? And how do you plan to use your gifts and talents to help elevate God's people? How do you plan to use Bronzeville, the musical, as that catalyst to do that? So that's where we are right now.
Matter of fact, we got a question from our audience, and he raises a good point with his question. Based on what you just said, have you ever had the experience where you selected a cast member with no experience, but you were so impressed with their inner workings?
Always.
Beautiful.
Always. That is the success and the track record of Mahdi Theatre Company. It's always about potential. And because the heart is pure and they have the desire and they have the passion and they have the discipline and they have the commitment, we on our staff can bring out that what God has already in them, and we can bring it out because they have the humility and they have the hunger to rise. So a lot of times, in fact, 90% of the time, people would think in the audience that this person have been performing all their lives, and they will often say, no, this was my very first performance. So many times, and that is the blessing on the Mahdi Theatre Company. Allah has gave us, most of my team members are teachers. We're educators. We come from Chicago Public School. Many of them are musical directors in the school system, or vocal coaches. And we rally together and we pool our resources and our gifts and our talents, and we're able to teach. So this type of thing is a teaching platform, and we're able to teach the novice artists. And we have been very blessed too to recruit trained artists as well. Many people who've been in the industry for many years have auditioned and have been casted in our productions. So it's like a tossed salad. Sure. But many times there are novice artists who have the hunger and the desire, and they try out, and then when they're casted, then they're on the journey.
So let's get into the meat of the play itself. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the play Bronzeville is a story of our people's migration. It's a what they call it, I guess the language is.
A historic, yes, sir. It's a historic timeline piece.
Why that story? Why tell it now?
That's an excellent question. We were inspired, really. You know, almost 20 years ago, I was so fascinated with the Harlem story, Harlem Renaissance, and the Cotton Club and Langston Hughes and all of the playwrights and artists who made a name for themselves in New York. And it was Harlem, the Renaissance movement. And I was talking to a great historian by the name of Sam Greenlee, and I was 23 years old at the time, and may Allah be pleased with the brother. He's no longer with us, but he is known as a Chicago historian. He's also the author of The Spook Who Sat Behind the Door. And he and I were talking, and I said to Mr. Greenlee, I said, I would love to do a musical about Harlem. And he is the jewel, or the brother, or the angel that placed a seed in my consciousness. Yeah. He said, Margaret, everybody is doing a story on Harlem. There's a lot of movies about the Renaissance and Harlem this, Harlem that, the Cotton Club. He said, did you know that Chicago also had a movement? Did you know that Chicago also trailblazed a lot of art and culture and the Renaissance movement? And when my team and I at that time did research, we saw a story within a story. A Renaissance is birthed from a migration. So it was the wave of the Great Migration of Blacks who came from the South to come up to the North that created and that led a Renaissance movement in Chicago, in New York, in Detroit, in Milwaukee. It started with Black poor people coming together, being rejected by whites, and creating a Renaissance. So that is the inspiration behind Bronzeville.
Wow, let me give that an applause. Absolutely incredible, sister. Incredible. Let's begin telling the story of Bronzeville's journey from Chicago to the Apollo. I read the Final Call story like everybody else and was absolutely blown away. I saw the stories. I heard people talk about the challenges. Tell us the origin story of how you set your sights for the Apollo.
You know, we're so grateful to Allah for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, because he has shown us miraculous courage. Whenever the ministers speak what he's going to do, the Million Man March, the World Family Marches, whatever he says he's going to do, once he speak it out, he manifests it. So we encourage our team at Mahdi Theatre Company, sky's the limit. We are God's people. Our stories and our narratives, our experiences are incredibly rich, and we deserve to come from grassroots or underground to up top. So we take our people and we take our plays to the best places.
Come on,
Chicago Theater in 2016 was our breakthrough. We were in fine downtown Chicago amongst Broadway in Chicago. And Allah allowed us, Muslim, Black community, Muslim and Christian, to sell out 3,555 seats. It was at that show that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, it was his second time speaking at one of our productions. And he said it again. He said, and let the cultural revolution begin. After Chicago Theater in 2016, the Nation of Islam, through Minister Ishmael Muhammad and his staff, invited us to perform Bronzeville at Detroit at Coble Hall. And it was a wonderful success. It was a beautiful community effort. From that, we said, Broadway bound, tour ready. And since 2016, up until now, we have been reshaping the production. We have been enhancing the score. We said we want to be the best of the best because we are the best. And in July, we took a walkthrough at the Apollo. They accepted my proposal. They were incredibly impressed with the Mahdi Theatre Company's history, and they said yes. And with that, we went to work. And with that, a lot of fires started to emerge. But Allah was with us, and we fought through it, and we were blessed to make history. Chicago met Harlem at the Apollo. And from what we were told, the last production at the Apollo Theater was Dreamgirls, 2012. So it was such a warm effort, but it was a beautiful collaboration with Muhammad Mosque No. 7. Minister, author, Sister Captain Jonna, Brother Dalil, those beautiful believers in New York partnered with Mahdi Theatre Company, and we made history. Mosque number 7, Mahdi Theatre Company, and Chicago headquarters. So we were so blessed. But remember, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's prayer protected us, and his prayer paved the way along with our prayer, because the cast and crew, we were praying because there were so many roadblocks ahead of us, but Allah succeeded and we were blessed.
Share one hurdle. Share one.
Okay, well, I will share one. When the tour bus was told to turn around.
Oh, wow.
We leave Chicago, and I wasn't with them. I was already headed to New York on flight, and we were blessed to have the drill team youth from Chicago, as well as Chicago Contemporary Dance Theater youth dance troupe. Yes, and we have these youth, these beautiful children, youth on the bus. We have parents, we have cast members. We have a bus of almost 55 people, packed bus. And the bus driver was given the word to turn the bus around. So that was an obstacle, right? On their way, leaving Chicago, and and multiple, we got another fire where my musical director was told not to do the show. Oh, wow. The weeks leading up to the production, there were a number of them, very strong fires. But what it showed us, we needed that, brother. And the reason why we needed that was Allah ain't gonna give you anything easy.
Say it.
And I remember the minister saying that Allah will try us in the most unusual ways. Yes, so if it's worth it, you have to fight for it. It ain't going to be just given to you because you think you are that or you've experienced this. Everybody, myself, the cast, the crew, our people in the community, everyone had to taste a test or a trial from Allah. And we, through prayer, our faith and our unity, overcame. And we were blessed to show the enemy or those who were envious that Allah is victorious. So we were blessed.
Had a +1 on that one, everybody. My guest tonight is Sister Margaret Mahdi. She is the founder, the artistic director of the Mahdi Theatre Company. Oh my goodness. If you're not inspired, you must be a brass monkey. I don't know about y'all at home, but I'm elevating on my chair over here. Now, are you there, sister? Is everything good? You all right?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, good. Now, I'm getting a bit of an echo with the change you just made. I'll keep going. So let's get into some of the feedback. What, dear sister, are some of the most moving responses that you heard to date from New York and the Apollo? Can you hear me, sister?
I'm sorry.
Could you hear the question, dear sister?
Sir?
Could you hear the question, dear sister?
Please repeat it.
Surely.
Hear the question, dear sister?
Okay, I guess we were still with the delay. I think you probably have 2 microphones on. I know what I'll do. I'll mute Dave. I got it. I'm going to mute one of these profiles.
I think you probably have microphones on.
Stand by, everybody. We're going to, there we go. I think that might have solved it. Yes, sir, Big Mike. This is a powerful one here, brother. This is a powerful one. I am so glad the sister said yes to talk to us about theater. Dave, bring her back up and see if she's ready, if she's good with her audio at this point. Let's try that one out and unmute the mic, sister. Go ahead, say something again. Can you hear me, sis?
Yes.
Okay, I heard that.
Can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear us?
Where is it?
Okay, I tell you what, Dave, while we sort out that audio issue, what I would like to do, I'm gonna just do an audible. Go back one more time and play that intro clip to tell people the greatness that is the DNA behind Bronzeville. Y'all,
You can hear me?
Watch this, y'all.
Brother.
My name is Margaret Mahdi, and I am the playwright and director for Bronzeville the Musical. Its world premiere. The production opens October 2020. Bronzeville was known as the Black Metropolis or Black Belt. This musical story is a story of inspiration and hope. We're telling the story of the great migrants. We're telling the story of their sacrifices, their pain, and their fight to come to a city that also rejected them. But we are still here today because of their journey. Simply, it is the migration story.
All right. We're going to try to bring our sister back. Thank you all for your patience and waiting for us to get through this little bitty hiccup. So, Dave, let's bring our sister back up to see if we have that audio issue resolved. Oh, we lost altogether. We'll keep going until she pops back in the room. What I want to do is ask you who are watching, did you see the play? Did you experience it? So I'm at this point talking to you who's watching right now until we get our sister back in the room. Did you watch it? If you haven't seen it, what plays have you seen? And how, and this, I'm asking you, do you think that that platform is one of which we can use for the resurrection of a people? I'm talking to y'all. I see our sisters came back.
Brother Vaughn.
Hey, there she is. Hey. We're back.
Praise be to Allah. Yes. But this has been such an honor and a blessing to be able to, I've always wanted to really talk about the backstory of a journey to encourage others not to give up, because the roadblocks are supposed to be there. And Allah showed us his hand in so many miraculous moments that all we could do is say, that's Allah. Even when the roadblocks appear, Allahu Akbar, because if he gave you the mission to do it, we have to trust and believe that you can overcome it. There have been so many people asking, how did you all get to the Apollo? How? Well, the minister said when he prayed for us, he said, Allah sent us there.
Listen.
He said, Allah sent you there. So, and what he says to us, I share with us, all of us, we hold tightly to Allah's hand. We don't know what's to come tomorrow. We don't know if you're working on a goal, what dangers may come ahead. But if Allah gave it to you to do, you have to stay the course. And what I got from this experience personally was the power of faith. Nothing comes easy. when the goal or the dream is big and it's bigger than you. Sometimes it even feels like a near-death experience, but you still have to, and we still have to push forward, constantly calling on Allah. And there are people around you that don't even see it possible. Some people will even say that they think you're crazy, or you don't even have that type of money. How? But when you hold on to the faith and you rally a few people that you trust who can pray right with you, Allah never fails in his promise. And I would just like to say that if you are in show business, as the minister said to us, do not do this seeking vanity. Do not do this for self-aggrandizement. Yes. Do it to make his commission known. Do it for the greater good of your people. Do it because a little black girl or a little black boy is watching, hoping for an opportunity to escape poverty. Do it because your ancestors bled and died for it. It is so much bigger than the hype. It's so much bigger than the money. The money, the minister also said this, the money will come. Yes. We don't do it for this because it comes and goes. It comes and goes. We never put money above Allah. Never. Never. Teach, sister. It is really about leaving something behind so that when Allah take you off this earth, others can say, I benefited off of this. I can see myself in this story. This story saved my life. And the beauty about an all-black musical is that you're giving Black people a chance. It's a healing also in this. There was a cast member that told us that this musical saved her life. Oh, do tell. Yes. What did you say, brother? Do tell. Yes, sir. It was a cast member, and she was one of the trained. We call them more of a professional cast member. She was going through some deep emotional hardships, some other private issues, and she shared with one of our team members, if it were not for this musical, she would have been dead. Wow. Wow. You don't know who life you are impacting, like your radio show. Brother, I can only imagine when people see you and watch you, how you have inspired them and gave them a new being, brother. This is deep. When Allah put us in front of his people, this ain't nothing to play with. And I can bear witness because I'm like, oh, Allah, now I'm in the trench and we can't get out of it. Dear sister, I am blown away. Absolutely blown away. Sister Margaret, we have now exceeded our hour. I only try to hold my guests for 60 minutes unless they press me with some more of their time. I don't take time for granted at all. But I will ask one last question of you. When the lights go up, and people get up out of their seat and walk out of the theater after witnessing Bronzeville or any of your works, dear sister, what do you want them to take back to their home with them? Oh, wow. Beautiful question. We want them to take back the presence and the message from God. That something said in the message, in that performance, through the delivery of the actors, through the play, through the sound, through the lights, that they were inspired, that they were motivated, or simply that you brought a smile to their hearts, that they felt good. They felt encouraged to go about their next day to do something important. And that's the mission of Mahdi Theatre Company. We are to use our plays to elevate, to educate, and to inspire our community, our people, Black, white, whoever comes and embrace us. We have taken upon the art as a form of healing, a form of of restoration and a form of enjoyment. And theater is life-changing.
Yes, ma'am.
Theater is really life-changing. So, I mean, we are very blessed to be on this side to create, and we're asking Allah to continue to purify our hearts so that we can be agents of the art form and to help promote positive change in the community. Like the Minister album, Let's Change the World. We can do it through our plays. We can do it through our symphonies. We have so much to give. I just personally want to let people know, step out on faith. If somebody say you can't do it, that means you better do it.
Come on now.
It's supposed to be big. It's supposed to be big. We're God's people. We're Mahdi. It's supposed to be big. You're going to stay in the same, you're going to sit in the same and do the same shows, the same venue. Step out. Go out to a 4,000 seater and tell the world who you are. Why not? And again, you got it. We have to make it make sense. Now, I've been doing this by the grace of Allah for 20 years. We've paid our dues. We've been in alleys. We done performed plays in bookstores. We done did the biggest venue, the smallest venue. All I'm saying to the audience is that don't be afraid to have radical faith. Whatever it is Allah put on your heart to do, and He gave you the dream to dream it, that means you are supposed to do it. And people are going to tell you you can't do it. That's what it's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be easy. So, from this experience, it has been life-changing. And what I do know is that your crew, your team, and people, you pray and ask Allah that they're in alignment with His way. That's it. That it's alignment. It's a spiritual journey, not about the hype, not about how much money. What's the gig? This ain't no gig. This is mission building. Don't come to me about gigs. I don't do gigs. I'm sorry, brother. I got off on a tangent.
No, as we close, I have to tell you what I see. Again, I was a bit apprehensive because of my ignorance of the subject matter, but I knew that we would find a common bond. And what I see, sister, is the love of the craft, the love of the people, and the love of the God that drives both.
All praise is due to Allah.
Applause is for you. As we close, please tell us the future of Bronzeville going into 2025, and how can we find, follow, and support you?
All praise is due to Allah. Well, we are from that wonderful experience in New York and the believers who supported us. We are so incredibly inspired to continue to move into Broadway bound tour ready. One of the things that the Honorable Minister, pardon me, not things, but one of the part of his prayer was he asked Allah to take us from New York to a national tour. And our next step is to Atlanta. And then we're going to just continue to build it. We're going to continue to build it. And we want this musical to be etched in the history books of our community. We're not, and some people have asked you, well, the Jews, operate Broadway, and but we understand all of that. Right. Broadway is universal, it's big. Be it, once we get the ban off of international, it can go international. All I want is that this play written in the books so that other young thespians, Black youth can audition for something that they can call their own. Right. And we don't have to wait for somebody to give us the permission to write. But the next step is to move into Atlanta in the spring of 2025.
I want to help in any way that I can to make that a reality, sister.
Thank you.
To make that a reality. Please tell us where to find and follow you and support you.
Thank you. Please follow us, Bronzeville the Musical, on Instagram. We also have a Facebook page, Mahdi Theatre Company, and you can follow us there. And I can be reached, margaret.mahdi@mahditheater.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have it right there. Our sister Margaret Mahdi, the founder, the creative director, of the Mahdi Theatre Company. Sister, thank you so much for gracing us with your time, your energy, and above all, your spirit. You have a home right here on the Rockwell Radio Show anytime.
Thank you. May Allah continue to bless you, brother, with abundance. Your 2025, as Allah, inshallah, bless us to see it. May it be wonderful and what your heart desire.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's it. That's the show. That's Sister Margaret Mahdi. This is DJ Rockwell. And until next week, we are out of here.
Now, if you got past all of that, you might as well keep on rocking with us. So come on, everybody, let's go. Let's go. Aha. Radio show, y'all. The Rockwell Radio Show. The Rockwell Radio Show, y'all. The Rockwell Radio Show. The Rockwell Radio Show, y'all. The Rockwell Radio Show. The Rockwell Radio Show, y'all. The Rockwell Radio Show. The Rockwell Radio Show. That means you too now. Rockwell Radio Show. The Rockwell Radio Show. The Rockwell Radio Show. The Rockwell Radio Show, y'all. The Rockwell Radio Show. The Rockwell Radio Show, y'all. The Rockwell Radio Show. Come on now, y'all. Yeah. It's a dope episode, man. Come on, man. Top tripping.